I know a lot about planes.
Buckle in, dude. It's gonna suck.
Put your hand on the screen.
How did they find out? Who was the one?
This show has gotten infinitely more gay.
The mystical land of New Jersey.
I don't understand how the laws in this country work anymore.
Welcome to the Rebel Radio Show. I'm Radio's Rebel DJ Style. On the board is Jules.
Howdy.
To my right, a special guest today, the one and only Pastor CeeLo.
Yes, good people. It is the good Pastor CeeLo. Yes.
Yes, you might know him from the independent wrestling scene all around Ohio, Mega, or Exodus Pro Wrestling. He is the man with the holiest feet in the game.
Ooh, I love how you put that out. The holiest feet in the game. Yes.
Is there anything I'm missing in the introduction, Pastor?
Oh, listen, let me give them the good introduction. All
Hit
right.
him with it.
I am the light fall at the end of the tunnel. And like he said, I am the man with the holiest feet in the game. I am the good one, the good pastor, Pastor CeeLo. Yeah.
Champion as well.
Oh, absolutely. 289 days worth of championship inside the holy body, yes.
We are coming to you live on WSRR Radio, your home for underground music, saving the underground music scene. 216-859-8699. Of course, that number to text in if you have questions or comments for Pastor CeeLo today. 216-859-8699. Again, that number to text in. And if you're listening in the Chicago area, make sure you hit up Synergy Music Studio for all your recording, mixing, mastering, and production needs. Synergy gets your next track, album, or radio ready. They are dedicated to working with local and independent music and the independent music scene to make your next track something special. Once again, synergymusicstudio.com. Let's get back to Pastor CeeLo here. Tell me what you've been up to in the wrestling game just off base.
Other than being God's champion.
I mean, when you are the Holy Spirit, I know this says Fighting Spirit Champion, but when you are the Holy Spirit Champion, there is no days off him, okay? We go from training to make sure the body is well. We go from, photo shoots. We go from shaking hands and kissing babies. We go everywhere around the city of, Cleveland. We go to Akron. We go to everywhere. And this doesn't stop in just Ohio. We're out in PA making sure we give the holy word. We're out in Michigan, Indiana. We're all over the place, baby. Yes. But through a normal life of your Holy Spirit champion is making sure that one in Exodus Pro, that me and my good brother, Pretty Boy Smooth dominate Exodus. And then as I am your Fighting Spirit champion in Mega, I make sure to keep this title tightly around my waist, yes.
Now, let me ask you this, Pastor. A lot of people say that wrestling is a sin. They say it promotes violence. It promotes all of these kind of abhorrent behaviors. What do you say to those people?
I would say that wrestling gives you a moment of freedom. You could be at work having a bad day. The part didn't fit right. The fries was too cold. It could be any situation, okay? But when you get to a wrestling show, you forget all your problems. Who doesn't want to see a man slammed on the back inside the ring? Who doesn't want to see a crazy choke slam from one of your big favorites?
Amen.
Who does not want to see a pile driver? Someone just popped right on their head. Yeah. Do I feel like wrestling is a sin? No. I wouldn't be there. There are many religious figures that have stepped inside the squared circle.
That is true.
And you know what? They've all gone down in history as legends in the business. I do this to give back to the people. I give back to the kids. I give back to the church. As long as they fill the offering tray, I give back, So.
Well, yeah, there has to be give and take, right?
Absolutely. Give and
Everything.
take and give, same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No question there. I would say, in your defense, I think you're there to cleanse the wrestling world.
I couldn't have said it better myself. You are amazing. I love what you do here. I love the place, too. It's amazing.
Thank you, Pastor. Can we get a blessing for the studio?
Oh yes, yeah. If could everyone bow their heads. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us here today at the radio station to bless all the ears listening right now with the wrestling knowledge of the Lord Himself. And the good pastor, in his name, we say, Amen. Yes.
Amen.
Now, Pastor, it's been rumored that you do have some of the refs there attending your church, and they might lean towards giving you the win. Is that?
Now listen here. I don't know anything about those accusations here. Okay.
Right.
Everyone that attends the church, they attend the church because they want to hear the holy word. They want to hear the good word. They want to hear what the good pastor has for them at that point. Now I would hope that every referee that one of my matches, they call it right down the middle, just like the middle of the Bible. Call it right down the middle, okay? We don't no favoritism here, no favoritism, okay? Yeah.
Well, it's my understanding too. Your door is always open for any of the roster at any company you work for.
Oh, absolutely. Any roster, any ring that wants to feel the holiest feet in the game, I'm always open to it. Absolutely. I was sent here to the wrestling world to spread the good word and to collect the title belts. Yeah,
right, of course. Well, that's the offering. That's
yes,
all that is.
Exactly. It's the offering to the man upstairs. I collect the belt. He's happy. It works hand in hand. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, let me ask you this. Traditionally in a church, you're supposed to tithe 10%, they say.
Yes.
When you go to each of these wrestling promotions, do you think 10% is really enough in terms of championship gold? Are you happy with 10?
No, but you know what? The Lord is happy with the 10, okay? Now, me, myself, I feel like I do a lot of work. I put my body on the line.
Right.
I get hit. I get choked. I get slapped. I get thrown around. But it's for the people. I make sure I do all this for the people themselves. I want to make sure that they are getting their amusement. I hope that I am bringing joy to their lives. So you know what I do? I do it for them. I do it for them. And you know what? I take that 10% because the Lord says, take the 10%. So, I just take it. I just do what He says, It's all I can do.
Happy to take the 10%, but always striving for more.
Hey, a little more never hurt, just saying.
All right, let me ask you this. You mentioned that the door is always open for any member of any roster into your church. Is there anyone on the current Exodus roster right now that you think needs to be attending more frequently?
You see, I feel like every single person on the Exodus roster needs to be attending the Church of Siloism. And you know what? The problem is, I think they forgot where the church was located.
Okay.
So let me remind y'all about the church. Okay, the name of the church. Okay, this is the name. I'll tell you the name. The name of the church is... The light fall at the end of the tunnel, 2nd Baptist, 3rd Trimester, 2nd Brother Twice Removed, down the street around the corner from your baby mama's house, Church of Siloism, okay? Now the
rolls
crazy
off
thing,
the tongue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the directions and the name. You would think it's easy to find. You just go around the corner of your baby mama's house, boom, there's a church.
Right.
Okay? But they seem not to know because they don't show up. Even the overlord, EC3 himself attends the church. You would think everybody would follow a man of that stature, but they do not. They do not. No.
Is the overlord doing his tithing?
Oh yes, you already know.
Just want to make sure.
He knows. I respect him. He respect and we respect each other. Absolutely, yes.
Well, what kind of teachings go on here at the church?
We teach you about we teach you about everything that there is to be good. Now, when I say good, you have your normal good. You have your GOOD. You have good, okay? Things are good. It's good weather outside. I have a good car, But when you are good, you got to throw a few extra O's in there, okay? That's a step higher. That's more enlightenment for you. We tell many stories in there. We tell the stories of the books of the Bible. Do you know the story about about Adam and Eve,
Of
correct?
course,
Everyone
of
knows
course.
that story. But did you know they had relationship issues? Okay.
I've
Now,
heard.
there was this one situation, okay? All right. So Adam decided, you know, I'm going to go down and go get the McRib. He wanted the
true.
McRib, all right? It was back in town. He was like, let me go get the McRib. So he goes and gets him a McRib.
The McRib does always cause issues.
It does cause issues. Now, he came back with the McRib. Now, Eve is sitting there on the couch, all hair up in a bun, sitting there eating an apple. And he's like, well, what's the matter? You took my first McRib, so I went and bought myself another McRib. So she just got mad and walked away eating her apple. He's like, well, why are you mad? Why do you have clothes on? What is going? They had marriage issues. The
Right.
Bible don't talk about that, but the pastor gonna talk about that. The pastor will let you know. We get into so many things at the church. We need to make sure that people know the word of the good pastor. So yes.
Now, obviously, you're reading from the Holy Book.
Oh, absolutely. No other book better.
I would assume you might have some other doctrine in your Church of Siloism.
We try not to really change the word of the Lord too much. I mean, we don't add a lot. Okay, we did maybe add an extra book called the Book of Siloism. But anyway, it was just a chapter in the book. It was just a chapter, in there, just a chapter, because we got to keep things updated. Because you already know, when they wrote the holiest Bible, they wrote it many centuries, millenniums ago. We got to keep it updated with this time and this day. We got to keep up with the Joneses.
Hey,
know?
the Catholic Church does the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
You're no different than them.
No different. No, a little different, but no different. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, probably in a good way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I take that in a good way. Absolutely.
A good difference.
Oh, I love it. He's catching on. He is catching on, people.
I'm
Yes.
learning from the best. Learning from the
Yes.
pastor. That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Absolutely.
I got to bring this up.
Okay,
I've
go
seen you live. I've seen you in Exodus.
Oh, thank you.
And you're always dressed like you're fresh out of the pulpit.
Oh, man.
How difficult is it to get the job done in the ring while dressing for the job in the church?
You know, there's no outfit that can prepare you for things that happen inside the ring. You know, as we all know, Pretty Boy Smooth was your first and should have been your only NWA Midwest champion. I had to make sure at any cost we are protecting our investment. We are protecting our champion. So there's been a few times I've had to pop up in the ring, talk to the referee, right. Just make sure that he's everything down the middle. We spoke about this earlier. Everything down the middle, like the Bible, you know. And it was just my duty, as you know, as a brother, as an advisor to Pretty Boy Smooth, to just make sure he kept the title. Now, unfortunately, we had some mishaps. He may not have it anymore, but that doesn't matter because we're still going to take on the toughest and the top talent that Exodus has to bring, that they have to offer, that they can pay for, because the reign of Pretty Boy Smooth might be over, but his dominance will not change.
Well, I think the world title's the next in line.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? When we say the world title, we mean WWE world title. We need to be up in there, getting that little WWE ID Pro. We need their titles. That's the next thing. We're going somewhere up there. We're going to figure it out, yeah.
Well, they say that the meek shall inherit the kingdom, right?
Oh, yes. Preach, brother. Yes.
Now that you're on the defense, now it's time to inherit.
Yes. And it's time to inherit all the gold, the follows of the people, the love of the people. It's time to inherit everything. It's time to bring ourselves from middle class up to the top class.
Now, you mentioned some mishaps. Obviously, you're no longer holding the championship is Pretty Boy Smooth.
Yes.
I'm not making any allegations, but I've read on the rumor mills, on the dirt sheets online, there might be some Judas-like scenarios in the future. Is that something you're concerned about?
No, you know what? No, because me and PB are on the same page, all right? We are two individuals so very close to being NWA stars. They just ain't seen it yet. We are the next ones to be the faces of NWA. We are brothers like no other. We may have two different mothers, but we still brothers. That's what I have to say about that.
Well, when we come back to the bank, we'll hear more from Pastor CeeLo, 216-859-8699, and of course, that number to text in.
Show.
You Uba Tuba son of a bitch.
Uba tuba piece of shit. You're a stinky rope.
Clip that.
Welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show. We're joined by the one and only Pastor CeeLo today.
Yes.
Pastor, you're going to have to forgive me here, because for a minute, I know we're talking about heaven and God's glory today, but I've got to talk about Hellbender Vinyl. They're Pittsburgh's first and only custom vinyl record pressing plants. They're one of America's most trusted custom vinyl record pressing plants, and they work specifically with the independent music scene in Pittsburgh and nationwide to make sure your next album is something more than a bunch of just ones and zeros floating around online. So if you want to make your next album release something special, get it pressed with Hellbender Vinyl. Go to hellbendervinyl.com today, and remember, every customer gets 5 free test presses at no additional charge, because they're hellbent on quality, hellbent on service at hellbendervinyl.com. Hopefully you can forgive me for saying hell that many times.
You know what? I forgive it. I forgive. See, because it was for a good reason, good advertising. So you know what? You are blessed. You are blessed.
Thank you, Pastor. Let's talk a little bit about your championship endeavors here.
Thank you. So, Oh man, see, it's crazy to think about winning a title in wrestling, but when you actually win it, it is a crazy and unbelievable feeling to put in so much work to be set on one thing. And one thing I was set on was this title here, and it all started last year at Breaking Down Barriers with Mega Championship Wrestling, where at the time the champion was El Tic Taco. And you know what? The crazy thing with El Tic Taco, he didn't really defend the title. He kind of ran around kicking everyone in the nuts. Okay, all right. It was a weird situation. He would cheat everybody by kicking them in the. He even got me once. Okay, or twice, or maybe 3 times. It wasn't a good time.
Not in the Righteous Gemstones.
But I had the opportunity to win the Breaking Down Barriers Battle Royal for a shot at this right here, and I claimed it. I claimed it, and ever since then, 23 title defenses, almost at 365.
Somebody, not myself, of course,
Okay.
but some might say there's an unfair advantage here. That not only are they fighting you in a title defense, they're fighting you and the Lord. It's kind of a Vince McMahon situation.
Now, let's say here. Now, let's talk about them. Let's talk now. Okay, maybe just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's not a big disadvantage. Just a little bit. Okay, so the Lord is always in my corner.
Absolutely.
He's always there. He is always, even though you can't see him, he is in front row at all the shows. Like, he is making sure everything is going good. Now, does he intercept himself into the ring? No. I might allow Jesus to take the wheel for one moment in the match, but other than that, like, the Lord, he trusts his good pastor. I am his faithful servant. He trusts the work that I do. He has no need to get involved in all of the matches. He may be involved in one, but not when I won this one. Not when I won this one. Absolutely no. That was on me.
I don't think there's any question about that.
Absolutely, yes.
We've seen your services with Pretty Boy, and now I need to ask, in the future, looking forward to title defenses.
Yes.
Are we going to see more of the ministry team? Do you have any form of vision for a deacon? Maybe some clergy members.
Anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. Right now, with me and PB and Exodus, we've been all we've needed to get the job done. Not saying there's not room for more, but we have been what's needed to make things happen. Now in Mega, I do lead my own faction, and it is the faction called the Army of Sin. All right, now people are like, now, good pastor, how are you sinning? You can't be calling your faction. Now,
No one is without sin.
exactly, you can't have the light without the dark and dark without the light. It's the yin and the yang. You got to have both. All right, and my biggest thing is making sure that the people of Mega follow their good pastor, follow the word, but they haven't been doing that. So sometimes when the children don't listen, you have to be a little more stern about that.
Sure.
You have to bring the word a little bit harder, and that's what the Army of Sin is about, and that includes myself, my big man, and we call Wrath, and the Mega Baddies champion, Pepper Pride. Now, that is all we currently need, but again, there's always room for more. There's always room for God's children in the Army of Sin, or with me and PB. Yes.
I think it's a bit hypocritical anyone saying that the Army of Sin is against the religion, is against the church.
Oh, no.
I look at it the same as a small group, a Bible study.
Yes, a Bible study. You see, look, we need to book him, Mega. We need to book this man. I feel like he would be great in armies. I feel like he'd be a good. Yes.
I'm just here to serve the church.
Oh, thank you.
So that's all I'm doing here. Putting in my good works so they'll carry over,
Oh, yes. Oh, they'll carry over in this life, the afterlife, and the next life. Absolutely.
All right. Tell me a little bit more about the Army of Sin. Give me a deeper dive into how this all came about.
You see, again, kind of tying back to this, when I won the title, El Tic-Taco was furious. Of course, someone of my stature finally defeating him and taking him off of his throne. So he decided he was going to go back into time. Now, I didn't think that this was possible, but he showed me it was with a device called the Flux U. And it's crazy because it took us back to the 70s. We were in the 70s for a moment. And then at some point when I and him got a hold of this Flux U, it switched everything back, but things felt a little different.
Sure.
Okay? It felt like people weren't respecting the pastor as they should, and for some reason El Tic-Taco decides now he's the pastor. He's trying to take all my work, all my good doings, and he's twisting it. He's flipping it everywhere. People, if you ever get a chance, check out El Tic-Taco on Facebook. You will see exactly what I mean. He is pretending to be a pastor, and I can't put up with it, so I have to lay the holy hand down.
That sounds like heresy to me.
I had to make sure that, one, he never gets his hand on this title ever again. So I created the Armies and to protect me, protect myself from Tic-Taco. But it seems like he's starting his own little faction. He has an old man with him. Have you seen an old man in a wrestling ring? That man can't even run the ropes, and he's trying to wrestle. I don't understand what's going on with this picture. But, my headphones falling off. There we go. I got a small head. Don't you worry. All right.
Old men do not belong near that wrestling ring.
No, they do not.
From what I've
belong
heard,
in
they
the
get
ring.
dehydrated and they pass out at ringside and they have
But
heart
for some
attacks.
reason, he takes a honey pack and he's great. I'm not sure what's in these honey packs, where they're getting them from. He takes a honey pack and he's like Superman. It's a weird situation, okay?
Supernatural honey packs.
Yes.
This immortal youth in the old.
Absolutely.
And a fake pastor.
And
this
a
sounds like the
fake-
work of the devil to
It
me.
is definitely the work of the devil. So I had to make sure that I had much protection in whatever could be coming in, the end of days, the revolution. No one knows right now. Like, this is insane, Who would want to, impersonate a pastor?
Who would do that?
Exactly. El Tic-Taco would. I'm telling you, he does, yes.
Absolutely abhorrent. Just absolutely abhorrent. You think you need to get him to confession?
I need to get him to confess. I need him to, just tell the people. Why? Is it just because you couldn't have this belt back? That's the reason you want to be me so badly, I don't even have time. I have to get to other companies. I have to make my name known everywhere around Ohio, the United States, Canada, Mexico. I have to get everywhere. I don't have time to worry about Tic-Taco.
You're busy making disciples.
I'm busy spreading the word and making disciples. You're
Absolutely.
absolutely right.
Let me
Yes.
ask you this. We've seen the likes of asylums. We've seen chambers and cages and Punjabi prisons. We've seen the shark cage match. How about a confession booth match?
Ooh, see, I like that. I even thought of a holy water match. The first baptism match, the first one to be
I like that.
baptized.
I like that.
Yeah, you see, we can even do, we can bring back the coffin match. Like, I'll say a little prayer for you at your funeral, and we'll make sure you have a good day along your way up to the sky. But you know what? I feel like the first baptism match is a way to absorb the sins of my victims, to make sure that they don't do it again. Like, I'm trying to help these people.
Whether it's the baptism match or whether it is a buried alive match, you could have your own Lazarus on hand.
Yes, I love it, yes.
And I think that's where we start looking at disciples. I think that's where we start looking at possibly a deacon or a clergyman.
We are looking for people.
Just throwing out ideas here.
Yes.
I'm no booker, man, but I'm just throwing out
You
ideas.
sure. You was giving some good ideas. You sure.
Not for this organization.
All right,
Not till the checks start coming in.
You're right. Yeah, got to be about the money.
Tithing, my bad. Tithing,
Yes,
tithing,
yes.
of course. So what's next for the good pastor and Mega?
Oh, see, you know what? Normally, we have a show coming up here soon. Chilling like a villain. All right, chilling like a villain. It's going to be a great turnout. We always have great crowds and things like that there. Great food, great matches. I mean, you're going to see individuals like Alex Daniels in the ring. You're going to see tag teams like Philly and Marino, Onyx and Butchie B. Now, unfortunately, one person you will not see there will be your good pastor. I will be taking my talents down to Alabama for Hard Times 5 with the NWA.
All
Now,
right.
even though I won't be there, still go support your local wrestling, please.
For more info on that when we come back, 216-859-8699. And, of course, that Rebel Hotline.
Rebel Radio Show is live at 5.
Stop saying Daryl the Wild Man Show as if it was like a show that was on it. Well, that's not a thing.
Every Monday on WSRR Radio.
Yes, we're back live on WSRR Star Radio, 216-859-8699, that number to text in. Pastor, we mentioned the fact that you're very well dressed. Whether you're in the ring or out of the ring, you're always ready to deliver your message. There's a lot of people you're in the ring with that don't have the same standards and fashion as you.
No.
I've got an easy way to fix that, though.
Oh, okay.
All they got to do is go to genericlothes.com because nobody cares about the details. Get to the point with genericlothes.com. Have a laugh at the big brand clothing company's expense. There's no need to pay $60 for a shirt just because it has a black swoosh on it. Why not get a shirt that says something like religious belief, sports teams, religious holiday, spiritual, or anything you can imagine at genericlothes.com. Once again, genericlothes.com, a proud supporter of WSRR Radio and the live and independent music scene. genericlothes.com. Nobody cares about the details. Get to the point. I need to get to the point of what we were talking about before we went to break here because you got a big event coming up. You're going down to Alabama. Keep talking about that because we got cut off short there.
Down in Alabama, absolutely. Yes, NWA Hard Times 5. Oh man, it's gonna be a great show. I don't have too much information just yet on what we're going to be doing and things like that down there. But it's very safe to say that I will be with PB. PB will dominate whoever he comes in contact with in that match. And the people are just going to love seeing the combination of one of the greatest and holiest voices in NWA and the big man, the 6'9" skyscraper of an individual dominating inside the ring. We're a perfect combination of what we offer and what we give inside the ring. And like I said before, NWA is starting to see it. They are starting to see that they have two great upcoming stars right there in their faces. We are dollar signs to these people.
The NWA going to Alabama with the good pastor.
Yes.
It could be the biggest religious movement in Alabama since Martin Luther King.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, Martin Luther King. And it's February. Absolutely.
There you go.
Yes. It's going to be a great movement. No. It's going to be a good movement.
Yes,
a
it
good
is.
movement for all the people in Alabama. But you know what? It's going to be an even better movement when me and PB get those contracts. It's going to be a great movement then, because then we are going to take our talents everywhere, to every state, making sure that everyone knows the words of PB and CeeLo. Yes.
No, I'd say that is good for business.
Oh, it's very good. Yes.
We brought up Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a couple questions to ask you.
Oh, sure.
You mentioned at the start of the broadcast there have been many holy men to step in the squared circle. I want to know how Pastor CeeLo would fare against some of these other known and infamous pastors, so to speak.
Okay.
How would you fare against Joel Osteen in the ring?
Oh, now Joe, I feel like me and Joe Austin, we can be friends.
Oh, yeah?
I feel like he about the dollar bill. I'm about the dollar bill. I feel like, and he has a wonderful church. Have you seen his church? His church, now, it's not as big as my church. Mine is about like 3 stories bigger, but
and
he
a
has
longer name.
Exactly, much longer name. Like, and it's easy to find. I'm not sure what his is, but mine's
no one
easy
knows.
to find. But I feel like we could be friends. I feel like Joel could be a cool. Now about him hiding the money in the walls.
Right.
Now, that's a great idea. I didn't think about that. You could hide all those walls
And you have big walls.
Exactly, and they empty. There ain't much in them.
That's a
Great
waste
guy.
of space if we
Waste
have
of
empty
space.
walls.
Yes, absolutely. Great guy.
Well, if you get along with Joel Osteen, you might get along with the next pastor I have on the list too,
Okay.
because he has quite the affliction for styling and profiling himself. What about Kenneth Copeland?
Oh, you know what? You threw it nail on the head. Style, because
Yes, sir.
the good one has to come in looking flashy, with our flashy vestments and garments, and I just got a little bit of jewelry, not a lot, but a little bit of jewelry. But I know he's decked out. I love the style, love it.
The two of you could have a good time together.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, we can drink holy water together. It'd
Have
be
a
great. It'd be
good time.
it's a good time. See, everyone's catching on. It's like a disease. It's catchy.
Now we're seeing more of a stable form than any kind of rivalry with these matchups. Let me throw out someone who's not necessarily an actual reverend, but by name. What about Reverend Al Sharpton?
Oh, Reverend Al Sharpton. You know what? Look, I respect Reverend Al Sharpton, but the only I don't respect the little comb back hairdo. I
Right.
don't respect that. We all know that he has a bald spot in the middle of his head, but he keeps combing it back and trying to cover it. Brother, let it breathe. Just let it go. Just let it go. Comb it all, cut it all off at this point, But he's an okay individual. He's cool. He cool. He can come to the barbecue. You know?
All right, how do you fare? You can come to the barbecue.
No, absolutely.
All right. How do you fare against the sinister minister himself, James Mitchell?
Oh, Mr. James Mitchell. You know what? Me and Mr. James Mitchell have not yet had a one-on-one, a face-off just yet. But, you know, I've seen his work. I've seen all the work he's done over the years in wrestling. It would be an honor to step in the ring and give him some good words of encouragement for the future. Absolutely.
Could be looking at the new church.
Oh, the new
with
church.
CeeLo and
Yes,
James
yes,
Mitchell.
Absolutely. Anything could happen, you know. I'm just saying.
Never say never, right?
Never say never. Absolutely.
All right, I got to bring up L. Ron Hubbard, the father of Scientology.
Now science. Now,
L. Ron Hubbard can get these, honestly.
we don't.
L. Ron Hubbard's taken quite the beating on this show before.
And he gon' if he ever wants to step in the ring, he's gonna take more of a beating. I'm just saying. We know what's real around here, and what's real is the low, the man upstairs, the G man, the lout. All right, that's all. That's what I got to say about
Now,
it.
my one concern with that, you might be outnumbered. You know, these Scientologists, they tend to run in packs.
Oh, they can run in packs, but see, I have an army behind me. I have a 6'9" skyscraper behind me. What am I worried about? You know what? You want to settle these issues? Step inside the squared circle. I will defend my title against all of them and put them all to shame.
Not only the best dressed in the ring, but also adorned in the armor of the Lord, right?
Absolutely. Just doing the work of the Lot.
All right, well, we talked about L. Ron Hubbard. Let's go to his counterpart in the Pope. How do you fare against the Pope in the ring?
The Pope has a big following. The Pope has a very, very
And
big
a big
following.
hat.
You know, and a very big hat. You know, almost bigger than some of the old ladies' hats that
Big
be
enough
coming
to
into
put
the
money
church.
in.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. No, I should adopt a big hat, and then in that hat, you know, I won't even carry around the offering tray anymore. I'll be like, put it in my hat. I will kneel down, put your money in that. You know, I like that. Pope is on to something. He is on. You know, I need to talk to him.
He could hook you up with a tax-free city, too.
Absolutely, tax-free. Churches love tax-free.
That's true.
That's how we operate. You know. So thumbs up for me. Thumbs up.
What about the other Pope, D'Angelo De Niro?
He's a good brother. He is a great brother. You know, I always love the little glasses with the little crosses on them and all that. And then he hits him with the double knees in the ring. He is a great brother. Great brother. You know what? There may be a spot for him in the Army of Sin.
For Brother Burke?
Absolutely. Why not? Elijah Burke, a legend he's a legend. Period. Like, great man. Beautiful man. Great man. Awesome.
And, of course, I've got to bring up Reverend Devon.
Oh, Reverend Devon. You know, the crazy thing about Reverend Devon is that he's my idol. He is the reason that I decided to take wrestling and being a pastor and put them together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He is the Brother Devon. Oh, his shtick all the way through WWE. Oh, it was breath divine. It's just amazing sight to see religion and wrestling being held hand in hand with each other.
Well, to that, I'll say this. You're much of the modern-day Sergio Gutierrez. Now, for those that don't know, this is the man, the inspiration behind Nacho Libre.
I'll take that.
A clergyman turned a luchador.
Absolutely.
How do you think he'd fare against Jack Black in the ring? That's a big man.
He's a big man. He is a big man. But I didn't win this title just fighting small men. I've had to overcome the small, the big, the ugly. I've had to overcome all of them. So, Mr. Jack Black, unless he starts singing the Peaches song, all right, I might be able to take him. But if he starts singing, I might lay down. I'll take the 3 count.
You could handle School of Rock, though?
I can handle School of
Okay.
Rock. I can handle School of Rock. Absolutely.
That's the most important part.
Yes.
All right. Like the modern day David taking down Goliath, you're no stranger to fighting big men in the ring.
No, never. And you know what? Even if I were just a little shaky in the boots, I always have someone behind me to help me out, and that's the man upstairs. Yes.
Well, and PB.
And PB, yes, and PB too. Absolutely. Can't forget about PB.
So tell me how that connection got its start.
So the start of Exodus, because I've been there since day one of Exodus. It was my duty to make sure when I come out and I start wrestling that I come out big. And they were having a big battle royal for, well, I think it was
that the Mike Faber battle royal?
Yes. Mike from State Farm, absolutely. It's crazy because, the only reason we had Mike from State Farm is because Jake from State Farm was busy.
Right.
So we had Mike, and Mike wanted to throw his State Farm money around, and who wins it? Me, of course. Me, my skills in the ring, making sure I eliminate everybody out of the ring. And then he decides to do it again and again. And who's the winner? Three-time State Farm check winner, the good Pastor Zelo. Now, as I'm winning this money, I see everyone's getting jealous. They all want a piece of what I've won. So it's like I need someone to protect what I'm building right here. And that's when Pretty Boy Smooth came into the picture. Who is going to fight him? Who's going to stand up to him? Not nobody. So he was the perfect individual to make sure that, he gave me good protection. I paid him well. I paid him very, very, very well to make sure that he protected me and my earnings. But then a certain individual got injured before their title fight. So it was in my best interest to put Pretty Boy Smooth's name in that hat.
Absolutely.
To be the first NWA Midwest champion. And it went from him protecting my investments to me protecting our investments.
A true partnership.
Absolutely, a true partnership.
Now, you mentioned the Mike Faber State Farm Battle Royal. I was there for the inaugural Battle Royal.
Oh, yes.
And
So
there
you
was
saw my
some
champion.
controversy. There was some controversy with some people, not myself, saying that you were in there for unholy purposes, for unjust reasons to win that money. I couldn't say further from the truth.
No.
How would you address those allegations?
See, I was in that battle royal. First of all, to make a statement. You were on the first show of Exodus Pro. You have to go in and make a statement for
Absolutely.
yourself. All right. Now, that money didn't go to jewelry and things like that. It did not. Of
course not.
Went back to the people, to the homeless, making sure that they have what they need to survive and things
Of
like
course.
that. So all that money was funneled to a good place, a very good place.
There just happen to be coincidences. People are going to try and find association all the time.
Just because, I come out with a chain or two, they're like, oh, what are you spending that money on? I didn't spend it. I've been had this shit. I won it out of a gumball machine, actually.
There you go.
So it's not even worth that much. It's like 50 cents,
Sure.
So that money went to a good place. Yes.
Now, when you win one of these State Farm Battle Royals, do you get a decent rate on your insurance?
So that was the thing. I did not at all. Actually, every time, because I had State Farm at the time, I had their insurance company at the time. I didn't tell him. I guess he found out because they started not covering everything. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what happened, but they said I wasn't covered anymore. And I'm like, well, that makes no sense. I tried to call him. He doesn't answer me anymore.
He's big timing you.
He's big timing me.
He's getting in the wrestling game.
Exactly. He has his first match finally, and he thinks he's all big and bad. He doesn't answer my phone call. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. That's why I
Turning his back on the church.
That's why I go to the general anyway. So.
Is it easy to insure your car? I imagine it's much like the Pope Mobile.
Oh yeah, it's very, very easy. They make it simple. Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure you're protected on the road.
Gotta be protected on the road and in the ring. Need protection 24/7.
Absolutely.
Well, he's got Jesus to take the wheel.
I got Jesus to take the wheel. Yes.
Well, speaking of NWA Exodus, the Ides of March are coming up. You guys have an event for that as well.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes, we will be having an event coming up now. I can't give out too much information of what's going to be going on that day, but as I continue to say, dominance is what's going to happen. All right. Every March we have it on the 15th, and the 15th being that was back in the Greek days, correct?
Yes,
Correct?
Julius Caesar.
Yes, exactly. Julius Caesar, the Caesar salad. Yes. It was a great thing. The Caesar salads are great, but
Love their pizza too,
exactly. They got good pizza. They know what they're doing.
and affordable, so they
Very
can
affordable.
pocket the money.
Absolutely. They learn from the good one. They are
True.
learning.
It's the Lord's Pizza, I've heard.
Exactly. Add a little pepperoni.
Hot and ready, right? Yes. All right. So the Ides of March coming up, of course, on the 15th of March. Exodus Pro Wrestling. How do you see your future playing out with Exodus Pro? You guys have grown exponentially over the past year or two here.
I don't see much changing, but more growing. Because, we're starting to do sponsorships for Exodus Pro, getting our name out there, allowing local companies to, sponsor wrestlers or just be sponsored on the show itself. We're going to expand. We're going to be everywhere. Every show that you see that's not Exodus Pro, you're going to see an Exodus Pro wrestler there. We are doing big things, and with 2025, it's just going to get bigger.
And hopefully, with more sponsorship coming in, you don't have more people from sponsors getting in the ring, getting hurt, and pulling out.
Exactly.
It's not what you want to see.
It's not what you want to see, but anything could happen, so.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
If we got you one-on-one with Mike Favorts, how does that match turn out?
Not good in his favor. Get it? Favor. Not very good for the man. You know what? He just had a match against Brandon Beretta. His first match. Now, I'm not going to lie. He did okay. He survived. He didn't die. And you know what? That's the most important thing. He didn't die. But you're going into the ring versus the pastor with PB outside the ring, and you also have the Lord looking down. It's almost it's a 3-on-1 match. He doesn't want those issues. He doesn't want those problems.
He wants that workman's comp.
He may, but we don't offer that here in wrestling. We don't offer that here, okay?
Well, here's the real issue. He thinks he's covered because he sells insurance. What he doesn't understand is when you step into the ring with Pastor CeeLo and you get clobbered, that's not an insurance write-off because that's an act of God, unfortunately.
Exactly. And when I pick you up and I hit you with that final testament, and I drop you square on your head, neck region, both, probably both of them. I like to hit both. There's no insurance that's going to be able to cover you at that point. All that weight coming down on your neck, crushing, you see this, that. It doesn't matter who you have for your insurance policy because they can't fix what the pastor has done, yes.
Well, let me ask you this. Looking forward to the future, you talked about taking championship gold, not just in Mega, not just in Exodus, not just in NWA, but all across the board. You threw out WWE ID, you threw out the WWE Championship. In your future, and I'm not saying 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, just in general, who do you have your eye on that the good pastor needs to meet in the ring? Who's been up to some sinful nature that needs to get some final judgment in the ring from you?
Well, there are many people. There are people that I've already shared the ring with that I would love to share the ring with again. But if there's, a few that are on my list, one in the independent scene, Dan the Dad. I've seen him. I've seen his character work. I've seen, just how he is a very stern father to these people, okay? He's very stern about what he does. And you know what? I feel like a little holiness will even him out a little bit, okay? I feel like a little holy feet will knock him down the sides. I feel like he needs to hear the good word personally, Another one, Danhausen, the man that carries the jar of teeth around.
Sir.
Does he think he's the tooth fairy? He can't be just walking around throwing teeth at people and things like that. he also needs to feel the holiest feet in the game. He also needs to hear the good words.
I couldn't agree more. You can't have someone who's very evil running around the wrestling game. He needs someone in the ring with him who's very good.
Yes. Yeah, I get you're very nice, very evil, but you can't be both. You got to be one or the other. So I'm going to help you out. You can be Mr. Very Evil, but I will be very good. Yes.
And, of course, not to mention the obvious here, but there's only one of you here with a belt.
Yeah, you know what? You make a great point. What's his belt? The only souvenir he has is a jar of teeth. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
He's collecting teeth. He's being evil. He's going on cruises. He's going to Comic-Con.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
my
you're
goodness.
preaching the good word in the center of the ring, putting sinners down in their place.
And making sure that they are blessed and they never do it again. You got to make sure they never do it again. Absolutely.
Well, listen, I know you've got the collection plate for your church.
Yes.
We need to pay the bills here at WSR Radio, so we're going to come back after this break. 216-859-8699. That number to text in.
the Rebel Radio Show playing.
Welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show, live, uncut, and uncensored on WSRR Radio, saving the underground music scene. On the board is Jules.
Howdy.
Of course, I'm radio's Rebel DJ Style, and we're joined today by our special guest, the Fighting Spirit Mega Champion, easy for me to say, Pastor CeeLo.
How's it going?
And you're a little toned down this hour.
A little toned down, yeah.
we get to talk to the man behind the pastor this hour for everyone
Absolutely.
listening live with us. Thank you for joining us on this Monday evening, of course, at 5 to 7, and brought to you by Hellbender Vinyl out of Pittsburgh, PA. They're one of America's most trusted custom vinyl record pressing plants. So if you want to make your next album release more than just a bunch of ones and zeros floating around online, we all saw LimeWire. We saw how that turned out. Don't let your music be stolen, be pirated, be changed. Go to hellbendervinyl.com for your next album release. Hellbent on quality, hellbent on service, hellbendervinyl.com. We talked to the pastor for the whole last hour.
Yes.
Let's talk to the man behind the vestments today. How did you get your start in wrestling?
For me, I mean, like, for anybody, it was a childhood dream. Like, we all, like, grew up watching wrestling. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, we might need to pull it in now that, now that the pastor's
Yeah, I'm not as
speaking.
loud as I usually am. I'm a quiet guy. But, yeah, I mean, we all had that dream of, being
Right.
a wrestler, I want to be like Shawn Michaels. I want to be like The Rock. I want to be like Stone Cold and stuff like that. And I was at a point in my life where, like, working a full-time job, it's, not as fun.
Right.
Having children at home, like, you kind of see life not really going too many places.
Sure.
And at the time, like, I knew some guys that I worked with that did, like, local wrestling. They wrestled in, Youngstown and all that, which is, like, near where I live. So they invited me to a show, and literally the first show they invite me to, they have me, like, working security for the tag team champs and all that, and that really gave me, like, my first taste of being in front of a crowd, trying to work a crowd
Sure,
at the time
yeah.
and stuff like that, and that went for a little while until COVID hit. After COVID, he wasn't really training me. Big shout out to, like, Bouncer and Kurt Fury, because they were the ones that really, kind of give me that start. But I wasn't able to really get trained because he didn't have, like, a facility to train people.
Yeah.
So that's why I went to Mega Championship Wrestling to, like, fully get trained so I can, actually learn and do moves in the ring. Because I would go in and literally I would learn what I would have to do for that night.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Okay.
With Mega, they taught me from A to Z stuff that I needed to know.
How to take a bump.
Exactly. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. Taking a bump, strikes, working the crowd, being a character, all that stuff. And I, like, Mega's my home. Exodus is also my home, but Mega really gave me the start to, be myself in the ring, to, really polish up skills
Sure.
and, be what I am now.
So you train with Mega. How long do you go through training before they let you put you in the ring?
So with that, I mean, it's pretty much till they feel like you're ready.
Sure.
Normally it's 10 live matches,
Okay.
after your 10 matches, if they believe, okay, you're good to go, you can, work other places, without, hurting someone, being able to listen, getting through a match, stuff like that, you're good to go. But yeah, it's normally like 10 matches, as long as they say you're good pretty much.
Have you ever hurt somebody or hurt yourself? Have you had broken bones or anything?
One time I hurt somebody.
Oh, no.
And this was actually at one of the Youngstown shows. It was a tag team match. So for a little while, I was doing the move, the Superman punch, which, if
Sure.
familiar with
Orange punch, right?
Exactly, yeah. If you're familiar with it, yeah. So we were in the match, and I'm getting to the point where I'm about to throw it. Now, wrestling's not fake, but we try not to kill each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I almost kind of knocked the dude out. I didn't hit him in the right spot, and I caught him square in the face.
So you
Everybody
made
in the
some good
stands was like,
counts.
whoa, that looked real.
Well, it was real. It was real, and it wasn't on purpose. Like, I
Right.
had, like, love him. Like, we got over it. Like, I felt so bad after. But after that, like I kind of stopped using that move
Sure,
because I was like,
sure.
I don't want to knock anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody. Like that's not what I'm here to entertain, have fun, and all that. But that was probably the only times that I can think of that I've actually like hurt somebody unintentional and all that.
So let me ask you this in regards to that, because
Yeah.
I'm very much an outsider. You know, I've done commentary, some production, and
Sure,
things
sure,
like
sure,
that.
sure.
But for the most part, I'm a fan like anyone else.
Yeah.
It seems to be in today's culture, you see it more and more, and you hear about it more and more from a variety of companies that the locker rooms and the wrestlers coming up are a lot more team centric or a lot more team oriented, whereas some of the older generations, if you stiff them in the ring, you got a receipt coming. Did you get a receipt for the punch?
I did not.
Okay.
Only because where we were at in the match, there wasn't really much more contact between me and
Were you
him.
confident you would have if the match? were
Oh
longer?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely, yes. Because I mean that's still something that goes on nowadays. Like we have accidents.
Sure.
You get me once, all right, cool. I'll tell you like, hey, watch, like you got me. But if you do it again, yeah, you're getting a receipt. Like there's no doubt about it.
Now, you said you haven't really had any major injuries or anything in that regard.
Yes.
How often are you subject to working someone stiff?
You know what? Working someone stiff doesn't bother me.
No?
I actually just recently worked Chris Cole, who trained a lot of he trained Ricky Shane Page, trained my trainer Brandon Xavier. And I know he's like one to work a little snug and things
Okay.
like that, and like it doesn't bother me, like growing up as a kid, I like to fight. Like I like to
Okay.
get into fights. It didn't do well for me back then because I always got in trouble,
Right.
but I always enjoyed fighting. So like if somebody hits me hard, like I don't really take it to heart.
Right.
But if you hit me hard in a spot where you probably shouldn't, then it's like, okay, I'll give you the first one. Maybe you were just off on your hit. Do it again, then we got a problem.
I think it was Bob Holly maybe I heard talking about on some show a long time ago, but it's a matter of hitting someone hard in safe places.
Exactly,
Right.
and the safe place is always the neck. Like it's
Okay.
in the neck. If you can hit in the face without hurting them, hey, cool, awesome. Ric Flair was one of those guys that he could throw punches.
Yeah.
They look like destructive punches, but he was barely touching you.
Right.
So yeah, like as long as you're hitting in a safe spot, fine. Good. Make it look real, but at the same time, we all have to go home to families.
Right.
We all have jobs that we have to work the next day. So
Were you referencing Tough Enough?
I might have been. I don't even know where I heard it. Could have been. I just remember that stuck in my head somewhere.
It literally popped into my head.
Was it
him
Tough Enough?
saying that. Yeah,
All
it
right.
was definitely
And that's what it was.
when he was one of the coaches on Tough Enough.
Oh, he doesn't have a great track record as a coach on Tough Enough either. So you got your start in Mega there. You got brought
Yes.
up into the ring. Was it the pastor gimmick right away?
No,
Okay.
no, not at all. So when I first started, I think my first appearance in Mega was at a Saturday Night Slam. It was an outdoor event. And with me being a new guy, I had gear that I got from Kurt Fury, a good friend of mine. And I didn't have a name at that point. Like I thought I had a name,
Sure.
but it didn't work.
What is it?
I
Do
think
you
my
know it?
name at the time, what was it? What was Jack Malice?
Oh,
was
hell
my
yeah.
name. Okay,
Okay.
that was the name. And this was before I really learned that having a tough name doesn't make you tough or
Sure.
doesn't mean you're tough or anything like that. I thought it was a cool name, but there was another worker in the area that was named Malice, so it didn't work.
Gotcha. Okay.
So my coach named me after D'Lo Brown.
Okay.
He named me CeeLo Black. So
Okay.
that was the name that I used
All right.
to at least
Yeah.
start being in the ring and all that. The pastor gimmick came, I definitely want to say months later. Like I didn't really go anywhere with the whole CeeLo Black
Sure.
thing. I wasn't too sure what to do. I wasn't too sure like how to portray that character. And I wasn't really being me.
Well, let me ask you this: was there a character to CeeLo Black, or was it just you getting your grounds as a wrestler?
Yeah, it was just me getting my grounds. It
Okay.
was just me just kind of getting a start, getting a foot in the door with everything. and all that.
Because we talked about a little bit during the break of how important character work is.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if you listen to the last hour live on the Rebel Radio Show, of course you saw an hour of character work.
Yes.
And didn't break for the hour.
No.
Didn't break for the hour. I did get a smirk out of you at some point. I don't remember what the line was.
There's
but-
been a few times where I'll do stuff, like I'll do a promo, and sometimes I can't get through the promo because I'm breaking myself.
But that's when you know it's good.
Exactly.
How long did it take you to develop the pastor gimmick?
So...
Yeah, like were you thrift shopping and came across some pastor garb and we're like, that's it.
No, so this was after. So every Thursday at Mega Championship Wrestling, we do Thursday Night Turmoil. So we'll have like little matches and things like that to kind of promote the big show or to promote like whatever storyline's going on and things like that. So specifically, and I always use this story as how the pastor came about. I was in it was a 6-man tag team match. And on the other team, good friend, the professor, older guy, that was managing at the time the Reject Academy was his little stable. So we were having the match, and at the end of the match, the professor grabs me by my head and uses the claw on me, okay? And we use that as the story of how the pastor became, because great. After that, we would do these promos, pretty much the after promos of the show, you know, from what happened. So we're lining up, we're getting ready to do it, and Coach looks at me and he's like, have you ever, you know, done like a priest or, you know, a religious character, a pastor or anything like that? Because it was the way that I would say that, you know, kind of drew him to that. So I was like, no, but I'll give it a try. So I found this old pizza tray that we had back there, and we're walking up, we're doing our segments, and I walk up and I full blown just go into the whole pastor deal. And after they turn the camera off, literally everyone's like, dude, keep that. Please keep doing that. So that was pretty much how it came about. It was more of his suggestion.
Sure.
And then me, because I've always done like just to be funny, like a Southern, like, you know, character and all that. So when I started doing that with it, you know, like everything kind of went together. Like it formed perfectly for me.
Right.
So I started doing that as kind of being the shady pastor, you know, trying to get money off people, you know, trying to put money on the tray and things like that. And from there, it just kind of blew up.
So it was literally like on the spot, essentially.
Absolutely.
They said, hey, have you thought about doing a religious gimmick, a pastor gimmick? And then moments later, you're cutting the promo.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no, you know, studying to evangelist. There's no looking back at, you know, Reverend Devon or Deacon Batista or anything like that.
And
you're just pulling from memory.
And that's a crazy thing, because a lot of people are like, oh, you know, he's like a reincarnated Devon, or he got that character from Devon. I didn't even think twice about Reverend Devon when I did it.
Yeah.
Like I go back and I'll like get like tips and, you know, ideas from the character itself.
Sure.
But when I originally did this, no, it was not even in my mind. It was, how do I be a pastor and be myself?
Right.
And my biggest thing is, well, pastors are always talkative. They're always trying to get, you know, money for the collection plate and things like that. Throw 2 and 2 together, and just worked out.
So how quick from that promo do you set out and go, okay, well, this is the gimmick now. Time to figure out where this character is going, what this character is. Head to the store and buy, dress clothes.
Literally right after that, I went on Amazon to get, you know, the pre-shirt and all of that, to try to fit the character like the best of my ability. Because it's like, if this character is going to be what I am for a while, like I have to make sure like I hit everything perfectly with it. And like my first showing at a major show as the pastor, I think we were in it was a triple threat tag team match. It was me and another good friend of mine, Jonesy, RJ Jonesy, who actually, like, we traveled together everywhere pretty much and wrestled, you know, each other countless times. But we were a tag team for a little while, so he was kind of like my little like servant boy or whatever, like little choir boy. And the whole idea behind that was I was trying to get his trust fund money for college.
That's great. That's great.
So it's like I was being his friend, but at the same time, hey, give me the trust fund money type stuff.
Right.
But that was like the first time that I was able to kind of go out there and showcase the pastor to everybody. And it came down to like me reading quotes, but reading them incorrectly.
Sure.
Like I remember specifically before that match started, I'm trying to get everyone to calm down, and I pull out a Bible and I start reciting lines to Little John's Get Low.
Okay.
And right before I get to like the juicy part, they're all like, no, you can't say that. And then like we start the match and stuff. So it was really just like I just wanted to really entertain the crowd. Because like doing something religious like that, somewhat difficult.
Yeah, we'll get into that when we come back, because there is a lot of tiptoeing around. 216-859-8699 to send in your collections.
Are you ready, kids? It's me, distinctively non-copyright, unspecified Sponge Man, and you're listening to the Rebel Radio Show on WSRR. Make the switch.
Yes, welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show on the Star WSRR. We're nationally local. That means we play your local bands across the nation. And if you are in the Chicago area, make sure you stop by Synergy Music Studio. They are one of America's best recording studios. Yes, I'm saying that right now. For recording, mixing, mastering, production, live performance, video, and more, Synergy Music Studio is your one-stop destination for all local and independent music. Even if you're not in the Chicago area, you can take advantage of Synergy Music Studio's reamping service, where they can take your old tracks, remix, remaster, and reamp them to make them exactly to your liking. Perfect for your next album, EP, single release, or to get it radio ready on WSRR. Once again, that's synergymusicstudio.com. They're out of Chicago, and they're a proud supporter of WSRR Radio. Of course, today our special guest is the Pastor CeeLo.
Yes.
And we're out of the pastor for this hour to give your voice a little break.
Yes,
We talked about during the break how taxing it can be to speak for so long, and especially if you're doing a voice.
Oh, yeah, it can't be.
Now, we started to get into the aspects of doing a religious gimmick before the break, and how you kind of have to tiptoe around certain areas. And we talked about the fact that this was kind of an on-the-spot character.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Someone recommended it. You did a promo very shortly thereafter that same day, and it's just been
It's stuck.
yeah, it's been
Absolutely,
full speed ahead
yes.
since. Now, since you've got that mindset, you know where you're going with this, or at least have an outline of, okay, I'm going for a pastor gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's probably going to be some heel tendencies of looking for money, looking for things like that.
Yes.
Since you've got the gimmick, did you then go and look at, okay, what are some other things I can pull from here in wrestling? Some names that come to mind. Obviously, we talked about Reverend Devon, but you have like the Sinister Minister. You have I always think of Mordecai because I'm a weird dude that likes the early 2000s mid-carders.
Yeah, I remember Mordecai, yes.
But do you go back and look at other religious gimmicks and see what worked, what didn't work?
I definitely went back and looked at Devon for sure, just to see what are some of the places he went with his character.
Sure.
There's a wrestler in PA, Reverend Ron Hunt. He's another one that I kind of checked out to see where he went with his character and things like that. There's another individual, Matthew Taylor, in the Ohio area. He does more like a occultist character.
Sure.
So I've checked a lot of guys in the area. Just to kind of see where do they cut the line on being too religious,
Sure.
or anything like that. And in beginning this, I didn't really want to reference the Bible or anything like that, because I was worried that people would get offended,
Yeah.
or anything like that, and that's definitely not the route that I wanted to go. I wanted to be a fun character for people to either you can relate to or you don't relate to,
Right.
but I was definitely worried about not saying, pretty much saying the wrong things,
Yeah.
and getting canceled in this day and age
Right.
for it. So
Is there anything that you think went over the line that you've done?
not yet.
Not yet?
Not
Okay.
yet. Not
Still
yet.
to come.
Yeah, I'm still to come. I've been trying to keep it simple and safe. There was one situation where I was supposed to pretty much exorcise a demon out of someone's ass.
Oh, good.
I
Wrestling.
turned that down. The place that it was from, they were cool.
Yeah.
They're cool guys and everything like that. But because I was so early in my career, and I'm like, wait, I don't know if I should be doing something like that just yet, because I don't want to ruin something that I'm just starting,
Would you do it now?
You know what? If it's in the, maybe there's a maybe to it.
Okay.
I'm trying to get up into I'm trying to get into the big companies. So hopefully it doesn't stop me from doing that. But if it's something humorous and funny, sure, why not?
If it fits the story. If the
Exactly,
story
if it fits
calls
the story,
for some
exactly.
ass exorcism, then we
Yes.
might need some ass exorcism.
Exactly.
So this creating a personality, that seems like a lot of mental work. Which aspect of wrestling do you find more challenging, the physical or the mental?
Definitely the physical.
Yeah.
The mental part of it, for me, it's crazy because I just snap into it.
Okay.
Like, I will be behind the curtain. Like, I'll be in a calm voice. Like, I'll be, just kind of getting my mind ready. And once I step out that curtain, like, it just flips. Like, I'm just turning on a switch at that point.
Right.
Doesn't matter what mood I'm in going in. Like, if something happened and I'm not, feeling the greatest, or, I have a lot of stuff on my mind. Like, I don't let that bother me once I hit the ring, because I know who I'm there for, and it's the people that paid the tickets. So I try to make sure every time that I go out there, like, I'm in the right mindset for them, no matter what the situation is. Physically, though, because there's a lot that goes into that. Keeping in shape, eating right, the cardio, lifting the people in the ring, things like that. That, I would say, is more difficult if you don't stick with it.
Sure.
I try to stick with it the best I can. I'm not going to say that I'm the best with it, but I do what I can. When you're at work and you see the snack machine, it's like, I'm a little hungry.
Does it play against you, wrestling in a shirt a lot of the time? Do you ever have that demon on your shoulder going, well, you're going to have a shirt on anyway. You could have this bag of chips today.
I feel like I'm in the figure of being a pastor. Like, I feel like I'm in that pastor figure. Yeah. So I feel like it works. There's been a few times that I will wrestle without a shirt.
Right.
Just depending on the day. Like, I'll do that.
Just a collar?
I've thought about that idea.
You should.
I've thought about that idea. So... but yeah, it's been a few times that I'll do it without a shirt, but with it on, I still, like, the arms still look good in the shirt, so that's all that matters. So.
How has the attire changed at all? Have you always had because I don't know what you call them, I just keep referring to as vestments.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I did not always have this. A buddy of mine who I've wrestled a few times, Ashton Day.
Yes, okay.
He's helped me out with, getting some of my vestments and things like that. But when I first started, it was literally just a button-down shirt with the sleeves cut off. And then I ended up getting the actual pastor shirt, so I had, like, the collar and all that stuff. For a while, I was just in pants. I've kind of transitioned to tights, kick pads, things like that. So I like to have a little bit of a variety of what I wear. Like, this specifically is for Exodus.
Okay.
But I have another one that I wear for whatever event. I just like to mix and match stuff. I don't want to always come out as the same, pastor. With me doing the button-down shirts, I can do any color.
And to what you were saying earlier about kind of towing the line of what is deemed acceptable and not when it comes to a religious gimmick, that kind of saves you too of, he's not specifically being a Catholic preacher.
Exactly. Yes.
So being able to mix up the attire like that and alternate how the style is.
Yes.
I do want to ask, because you mentioned having the Catholic collar early on. I don't know, this is just my thought process here, but my buddy and I were a Catholic priest and a nun one year for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I remember researching, I'm like, okay, what is the fucking collar? And it's like cardboard, essentially. It's like a little slip. How hard was that to take a bump in? Because for those who don't know, a lot of wrestling is tucking your chin.
Exactly.
And if you got a piece of cardboard sitting there, that can't be great.
So the last time that I can remember, the last time that I actually wore the shirt that has the collar ended up flying out.
Really? Okay.
What I was trying to do was how The Rock would do the people's elbow. He would always take off an elbow pad, throw it to the crowd. So my idea was taking the collar out, tossing out to the crowd. Before I could do that, it was already gone. So it does not stay in well. The ones that I had were plastic.
Okay, gotcha.
So
that sounds worse.
Yeah, you would think so, yeah. But it never hurt, taking bumps, tucking my chin or anything like that. It was never really in the way or anything. So it worked pretty well.
I feel bad. We keep talking during the break about certain aspects that we should probably say for the air. But we talked a little bit about living the gimmick and how important it is to get character work over as well as being solid in the ring.
Absolutely.
And, obviously you're sitting here with the championship belt today. So to have a character that works, that gets over well enough to be trusted with a championship, what does that mean to you? That
means a great deal that, a promotion has faith in me to be one of their faces of the company itself. And it mainly plays to having a great character. Like Brandon Xavier is big on character work. Like that's his big thing. Like he loves characters. This is why we're doing like the 70s to the 90s, the going back in time and all that stuff. Like he loves that stuff. So to be able to be very good at being a character and also being able to get through matches, get people through matches, you know. I said this before, like I'm like I have the whole John Cena routine. I have a few moves that I do, and you know that's it. Everything else is playing to the crowd, talking to the crowd, making sure that I keep them involved, you know, because anybody can go out there and do like 300 moves,
right?
You know, but to leave that one person out of the crowd laughing because of me saying Jesus take the wheel and falling on somebody, or you know just poking at them about, you know, who they like in the ring, that's what gives me gratitude at the end, like being able to do that stuff.
When we come back, I want to dive into more of that ring work and including character inclusion in that. 216-859-8699. Jules is waving me off because we're going to break.
He's out in the car, listening to the Rebel Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Rebel Radio Show. We're joined by Pastor CeeLo here today, and we talked a little bit before the break about getting your attire ring ready and all the different elements that went into that, and pastor vestments and the neck collar and everything like that. And I know you listening at home don't need to go through that much trouble when you're looking for clothes, but you also shouldn't be spending $60 on a shirt because there's a red rectangle on it. It's not going to make you any warmer. It's not going to do anything more for your body. So that's why you go to genericclothes.com. You have a laugh at the big brand clothing company's expense. Get a shirt that says shirt. Get a shirt that says pants. One that says local radio station based on WSRR. You can get them for a whole variety of holidays, of events, of gifts. They make perfect gifts as well. Hell, get a shirt that says ketamine on it. Get a shirt that says cocaine on it. Get a shirt that says expensive college. Get them all at genericclothes.com because nobody cares about the details. Get to the point with genericclothes.com. I'm going to get to the point of getting my speech pattern correct here. 216-859-8699 if you want to use that text line. It works for all of our shows on WSRR Radio and 24/7 365 because it stays live just like us on Live 365. Take us with you wherever you go, and wherever Exodus goes, it seems like Pastor CeeLo is there to follow. You have a great working relationship with the NWA, with Exodus Pro Wrestling. You're bringing back the territory system in a sense. Tell me how it's like to work with Exodus.
I love it. I love it. The fact of being able to work under wrestlers that you watched on, WWE, on TNA and all that. It's crazy. The first time that I met EC3 was at Ricky Shane Page's promotion, Ruthless Wrestling. And I'm getting ready to, kind of do my thing and just see EC3 just walk into the locker room and stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is a little, it's a little terrifying, but it's also cool, So I'm like, on deck, I'm about to go out there, and I see him kind of peeking out through, he's watching everything. So my music hits, I'm going out there, I'm collecting money from people, blah, blah, blah. Ricky comes out, we're doing the spot and stuff, and I finally go in the back, and he looks at me, shakes my hand, he's like, dude, I can make you a star. And that was it. I was like, thank you. And
that's a hell of a stamp of approval.
So, I kind of, walked away. And again, Ashton Day and another good friend of mine, Dio Salvador, has been, around in wrestling for years. They both told me, hey, you need to do one of these Exodus seminars. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll do it. So not the first, I didn't make the first one, but the second one that came around, I sent an email, hey, I'd like to be a part of this. And they sent an email back. They're like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, if you're the guy that EC3 thinks you are, we may already have a spot for you.
Very nice.
I'm like, okay, awesome. So I do the seminar and everything, which he loves it because I pretty much just did my character.
Right.
That's all I needed to do. And then the next show, literally the next day was the first show, and he's like, all right, we're going to build the story around you, winning battle royals, collecting money and stuff like that. But yeah, just working with a professional company when it comes to being on cue, being on TV, time,
right.
Being at your times, having to read from a script, which cool thing is they don't have me read from a script anymore. They're like, you don't need a script. Just talk. Just go out and be you. I'm like, hey, no problem.
I mean, that right there is a huge stamp of approval.
Exactly. Yes. Literally anytime I do a podcast or anything, they'll be like, our only lines for CeeLo is be CeeLo. And I'm like, hey, you got it.
I mean, not to break the fourth wall too much or anything here,
Yeah,
but you walked into the studio today, and our first question was, well, do you want me to be CeeLo, the pastor, or do you want me to be the guy and ask about wrestling questions? And fortunately, we were able to, kind of do a half and half here for the live audience today. But yeah, I mean, you right into the character, and like we said earlier in the show, stayed in character the whole hour.
Yeah.
And I mean, it shows why a company would trust you to be able to go out there and do a promo.
Sure, yeah, and again, it's just so fun to do because the one thing they tell us about wrestling, your character is you up to 1,000.
Right.
So it's I'm taking the pastor elements, but at the end of the day, I'm just me.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting purely me. Like, this is the person that I couldn't be in high school or middle school because people thought you were weird, you know. But I can be in front of this audience because they like all the crazy, weird stuff that comes with wrestling.
Right.
They love the characters. They love that fairy tale. They love that. So it's like a perfect place for me to be.
Well, piggybacking off of that, let me ask you this then, because like you said, everyone, I think, started for them at some point in their life growing up watching wrestling going, damn, I want to do that. That's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's like the NFL. Most people aren't going to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What do you give as advice to someone who's watching wrestling now thinking they want to do that, or someone who's looking to get into the business?
Do it. Like, literally follow your dream, no matter what it is. I technically started this journey at 29. But when I really got into wrestling, I was, I want to say 30, 31.
Okay.
And the one legend that I kind of take off from is DDP.
Okay,
he
yeah.
didn't start
Yeah.
until late in his career, you know, and became one of the big names in
Right.
wrestling. I've been doing this 3 years. And I have people from NWA looking at me saying, good job. I have
Right.
EC3 loving my character. You know, I have companies that, you know, are happy to have me a part of their roster, you know, just from being an amazing character. Because that's like one aspect you can't have wrestling without is character work,
Right.
you know. But, yeah, it's been a blessing. It's been a big blessing to be able to do what I have had a dream of for so long, and to be at that point where I can use this to pay my rent,
Right.
to, you know, make car payments, to live off of, you know. So
I do want to talk about, you know, you mentioned working with EC3, with the NWA and association there. What's it like getting to work with these people and some of the names that you get to work with? Because just the handful of events I've been to, and for anyone out there who hasn't been to a local wrestling show, who maybe likes the product or is just getting into it, I always encourage you, it's like the music scene, go see your local independent shows, because that is the future of the business. That is the future of this you know, sport that we love, is standing right in front of you, and you have a great opportunity to get on the ground floor of it, essentially.
Yes.
You know, I think the first Exodus show I went to, obviously EC3 is there, he's at the helm of it, but you have guys like Idol Stevens, Damian Sandow, you had a Basham there as well.
Yes.
You know, so you guys have a lot of great minds and workers that, you know, you get to learn under as well.
For sure. And it's crazy to, like, just sit and listen to them, like, break down the matches, break down the reason why we're doing this, you know. Just going over everything with us it's different from being at a promotion and just calling, you know, whatever we're going to do in the match.
Right.
No, they want you to tell a specific story in the ring, and it's crazy because, you know, like, with storytelling, you need characters. It's hand in hand, you know. But, like, to work with, like, EC3, awesome. Aaron Stevens, freaking love Aaron Stevens.
So underrated, too.
Dude, so underrated.
So underrated.
Like, he is amazing to sit and talk with and just be under a learning tree of. And, like, even with Mega, you know, they've brought in many stars. Like, I've been able to get in the ring with Gangrel.
Oh, very
I've
nice.
been able to, you know, have D'Lo Brown manage me out
There
to
you
the
go.
ring. You know, it's crazy to, like I said before, like, watch these guys, you know, on WWE as a child to now I'm standing across from Gangrel and we're about to lock up, or me and D'Lo Brown are having a Soul Train walk out to the ring and all that. Like, it's there's not really a word that can explain the internal feeling I have with it. Like, it's just amazing.
It really has, and I'm not saying that, you know, you're anywhere near done, because you still have an entire future ahead of you, but it really has come full circle from starting as, we're going to call you CeeLo because, you know, it's a D'Lo Brown homage, to being able to walk out to the ring with the man himself.
Yes,
I mean, that must have been a hell of a moment.
It was. And it was one of those things where, you know, he comes in and he's like, all right, what do you guys want to do? And my thinking is like, well, you're the veteran here. Let me ask what you want to do. But he's like, no, I'm at your show.
Right.
You tell me what you want to do. And I was
Humble.
like, awesome. That's awesome. We ended up doing a spot where I defended the title right after the match, and this was still before me and Taco kind of did our switch. Taco comes out and he tries to low blow both of us. Taco doesn't know we're both wearing cups. So we're in the ring. We get low blowed. We pull out the cups. D'Lo takes his cup and shoves it in Taco's face. No. He shoves them to me, and I got to hit him with the sky high.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was like an awesome thing to do with him in the ring.
Yeah.
And all that. So, yeah.
I got to ask, too, just because I'm a music guy, what's it like being able to work under Billy Corgan with the NWA?
Oh, dude, he's awesome. He's awesome. And I can't give, too much,
sure.
But, like, watching him creatively, like, as he's, like, putting stuff together, it's a masterpiece. Like, he definitely has an idea for this stuff. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Just the story he has alone of getting into the wrestling game as a fan and caring so much about it. Like, the dude could have won his entire career off everything he'd earned from the Smashing Pumpkins already.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And to give back to the wrestling community the way he has, buying out the NWA, and then continue to grow it with territories and programs like Exodus.
Yes.
It's just... It's very much the revitalization this industry needed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people credit AEW with bringing back competition and giving people a chance, and
for sure,
that's all great.
Absolutely,
yeah, but we already had Impact.
But it's but that's this on a major stage.
Yes.
It happens locally first. It's just like anything else. It's like music. It's like government. It has to change locally first.
100%.
And that's exactly what this is. It's such a great movement. And like you said, whether you're working with Exodus or you're working with Mega or anywhere across the country, you're going to PA here soon, you're going to Alabama soon with Exodus, it's giving you that opportunity for exposure.
Yeah.
How cool is it to be able to just go... You touched a little bit about being a welcome addition to rosters.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is it for you to be able to show up and have that character still and not have to adapt to, what the card's looking for that night? Hey, we're going to give you this name, this gimmick tonight.
It's awesome because when EC3 first saw like my character and stuff like that, he didn't want to change a single thing.
Yeah.
Like he just wanted me to go out there and be me. The only thing that kind of changed what I went from like being the good pastor to like the shady pastor and stuff like I kind of reverted back to that for Exodus. But other than that, like how I was as a person, like he kept it the same, and the fact that he knew that my character and everything that I did was well enough to be shown to NWA.
Right.
Like even Billy didn't want to change anything. Like he loves what he sees. So I'm just grateful that not even that I stumbled upon this, but how everything fell together to now this point of presenting this character to NWA. Like everything has just worked so well in my favor with it. And it all started off with just me being me.
Well, so let me ask you this: talking about NWA Exodus Pro Wrestling here, obviously you've been around in multiple different promotions, multiple different areas, and we talked a little bit about the presentation and the backing that Exodus Pro Wrestling has with names like EC3, with Aaron Stevens, with Billy Corgan, with the NWA. Just as someone who's attended these shows and seeing, what most people would consider minor things that add so much more to the product that a lot of people don't realize offhand. You guys have camera work that's being done. You guys have commentators. You guys have announcers like Amanda Casey, who does an awesome job. And it's little things like that that really take it to the next level. How does working shows at Exodus compare to some of these other smaller promotions?
One thing that I would say is some are not organized.
Sure.
Like this is organized from top to bottom. Like we have a strict script that we go off of. Like, hey, these are your set times. There's no going over. Under is nice. No going over. Right. Everything is to prepare you for being in the NWA.
Okay,
it's to prepare you for getting the Impact TNA, preparing you for AEW, WWE. I cannot say that's all promotions are like that.
Right.
There are some that we just want to put on a show for families. We just want to put on a show for like the hardcore wrestling fans and things like that. Those are like the small stepping stones to get us to those bigger places. Exodus is really giving me a big boost on what places are going to look for when it comes to, are you a TV star or not?
Gotcha.
You know? And they've really put me in good positioning with that. So.
It really is like a proving ground scenario.
Yes,
there,
absolutely.
Getting you ready for what the big time is.
Absolutely.
We talked a little bit about it in character. I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about out of character with you as the man. What does it mean to you to hold that championship today?
I mean, honestly, I don't know if my answer would change because, again, like the fact that, Brandon trusts me for as long as I've had this.
Yeah.
To be, one of the many faces that, Mega sees, it's a big honor. Like, I love it. With that being said, we all understand that the title is just a prop.
Sure.
The title doesn't make us. We have to make the title.
Sure.
And that's pretty much going out there, making sure we defend it, that we're showing that we're making sure that we are a fighting champion and all that. But no, it's a big honor, and it's one of few titles that I've won since being a wrestler. But, even if I didn't have the title, I'd be in the same boat. Like, I would still be just honored to be one of those faces on a poster, one of those faces on the match card that,
Right.
People are going to want to come see and things like that. So it's the fact that I still get to go out there, title or no title, and entertain the fans.
Absolutely.
Like that's the big thing.
We talked a little bit about character work in the ring.
Yes.
I do want to ask one more thing here when it comes to that, because it's a very interesting aspect of professional wrestling, especially for outsiders looking
Yes.
in. Of they'll see sometimes characters and go, "This is why I don't watch wrestling."
Mm-hmm.
It's a very hit or miss thing, and
Yeah.
to that you have to, like with the religious gimmick, you have to ride a very thin line
Absolutely.
of keeping it grounded in reality.
Absolutely.
I think you mentioned earlier, a relatability to it, where not necessarily, I've been to church and my pastor was corrupt, but
Mhm.
we know, unfortunately, that is a real thing that happens.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
this stick. We talked about Joel Osteen and Kenneth Copeland earlier in the
Yep.
show, so we all know very well that
Yes.
this is
Yes.
unfortunately something that happens. How do you make sure that stays grounded in terms of character work?
And like I said, in the beginning, I try not to be too religious, like
Right.
quoting the book of the Bible and things like that. That's where I kind of started making up my own stories, but adding that funny twist. So
Yeah.
like Adam and Eve and the McRib.
Right.
It plays to the whole Eve was made from the rib.
Mm-hmm.
Eve took his McRib. He had to go get another one. Like I just want to make it to where I'm telling those stories that people know from the Bible,
Sure.
but giving it that fun twist to it. So it's not being, not trying to be offensive or anything like that.
You're not like preaching at people.
Exactly. Now, with me being like the darker side, I could do that a little bit more.
You could dive a little more
yeah.
in depth.
Exactly. Because then I could preach at people. They don't like that. I'm doing my job. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I don't want it to get to a point where people are coming to me, at the merch table or after the
Sure.
show, like, oh, you're going to hell for what you said out there. It's like, no, I'm just.
It's just a wrestling show.
Exactly. It's just a wrestling show. Like, we're just having fun. It's just
The
for
IWC is
entertainment.
going to hate that. I got to ask you this because I know we're getting short on time here. Are you ordained?
I am.
You are.
I am, yes.
All right.
It was something recent, and it was something that I wasn't sure that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because, again, we're still on that, thin line
Sure.
of, not wanting to upset anybody. But I figured, for those that want to renew vows, have a funny character as the pastor to do it, why not,
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that I haven't fully dived into yet. But I've
But you
taken
could.
exactly. I've taken that first step into becoming ordained, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Obviously, I haven't done the research on this. I don't know. I could be wrong. But to my knowledge,
Mhm.
in terms of in-ring weddings,
Yes.
I believe that no one was actually ordained as an official. I believe these are extras.
Don't believe so. No, I
So
do not believe.
theoretically, you could have the first legitimate law-binding in-ring marriage.
Yes, I could. I've done before I was ordained. I've done one wedding, but it was just for a storyline.
Okay.
But I could do it. I could definitely do it. No problem.
After you're ordained, if you do a funny little makeup wedding and you're the pastor, does that legally marry them?
I would believe so. I would honestly believe so.
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Accidentally marrying someone because it's storyline.
Yeah, you never know.
Oh yeah, by the way, I'm ordained. You
yeah,
guys
like
are,
you guys are actually married now.
guys, I'm a pastor after all.
Like, I can't reverse this. I'm not too sure how, but you guys are married now.
That's up to the state now.
Exactly. But I feel like because you actually have to go through, like, paperwork and
Sure.
stuff like that,
That's
technically,
fair.
no. So-
Right.
Yeah.
But they're just a few steps away.
Exactly. They're just a few signatures away. That's all.
Well, again, I know we talked about it earlier, but you guys have a show coming up, the Ides of March with Exodus.
Yes,
Tell me a little
yes.
bit about that again here.
With that, pretty much, I will be managing PB again. Doing all the fun stuff, causing controversy and different things like that. I believe this show it would be him and Calvin Tankman going 1-on-1, which would be two big men just beating the crap out of each other. So it's going to be a great show. But yeah, the Exodus shows are getting they're getting bigger. They're getting bigger. Like I know last show we were still putting chairs out, and we were into like the second match.
Oh wow!
Like people were really recognizing like, oh, Exodus is here to stay. But I mean, you're going to see EC3, Richard Holiday. Who else is there? Sam Beal, Mamba and G's, like a lot of guys. Like it's going to be a great show. There's a lot of characters. The Slime Balls, Carson Drake. Like there are a lot of different characters for everyone to enjoy there.
Absolutely. If you haven't been out to see an Exodus Pro Wrestling show, I highly encourage you to do it. If you haven't been out to see a local wrestling show either, Exodus is the perfect place to start because, like you said, there is that something for everyone.
Absolutely.
And there's wrestling, there's character work, and there's production, which makes it all come together perfectly. It is just like going to see an NXT, essentially, but for the NWA. And, like you said, there's those big names on the card as well for anyone who's been out of the game for a while who might want to get back in. So Exodus Pro Wrestling, make sure you check it out on all their socials. Where can they follow you?
Oh, man. You type in Pastor CeeLo on any social media from Facebook to Instagram, Twitter. Definitely follow me on TikTok. Like, that's where you'll get a lot of, like, match clips, promo clips, like, a lot of stuff there. But yeah, pretty much anywhere on social media, type me in. I'm definitely there.
Well, Pastor CeeLo, Mega Fighting Spirit Champion, thank you again for joining us today on such short notice.
Thank you.
We got to thank Chelsea as well for setting all this up. Make sure you check out her as well. You can check out all of the Exodus Pro wrestlers through their website and go to Exodus Pro Wrestling Online. And for all of our programming, schedule showtimes and more, WSRRradio.com is the place to go. Of course, that number 216-859-8699 to text into all of our shows. That works for us. Live at 5 every Monday is the Rebel Radio Show. You can get us on Live 365 or WSRRradio.com. But there's a whole litany of other shows and programming like your morning drive. You get music interviews in the morning. You get Behind Enemy Lines. That's the Cleveland sports show from Pittsburgh, PA, as well as the Grab Bag. That's a variety of hosted shows on WSRR Radio, as well as True Vault Escapades. That's the Fallout-based radio drama at 10 p.m. Thanks again to Synergy Music Studio, GenericClothes.com, and Hellbender Vinyl for supporting local music and the independent music scene. Again, for more showtimes, schedules, and more, that's WSRRradio.com.